from the mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov.
TLM-67 versus Soyuz 017 FET, the investigation continues. So, here we are. This is the Soyuz 017 FET, and this is the TLM-67. No EQ on either of them, all right? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so TLM-67, the wheels on the bus go round and round. Soyuz 017 FET, the wheels on the bus go round and round. All right, so there is an obvious difference between them. The Soyuz sounds a little bit more ready to go, and the TLM sounds like it's a little bit rolled off on the top. It sounds a little dull in comparison, right? Now, is this just because the TLM is inverted, right? The TLM sounded different. They sounded a lot closer to each other when the Soyuz was inverted, right? Hey, looking for something to watch? Do you love cake? Then you need to check out Core TV's latest episode of Born Behind Bars, That Bitch Ate My Cake. Called the best episode of TV ever by some guy on Facebook. B3 That Bitch Ate My Cake will delight even the most jaded lover of prison babies or cake. All right, so when I do this, I'm going to pop on here for the Soyuz. This would be the EQ that I would use to work with it. So right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now let me, here's the TLM with no EQ. So TLM no EQ, Soyuz with EQ. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to EQ the TLM. I have a setting here already that is vastly different. Now, let's see if they match. All right? So Soyuz 017 FET, TLM-67, Soyuz 017 FET, TLM-67, Soyuz 017 FET. All right, so now I have them matched. But here, look at the EQ settings. Look at the difference in the EQ settings. All right? So this is the Soyuz, and this is the TLM. And if you notice, the TLM has a lot more EQ going on to get closer to the Soyuz sound. Right? So the Soyuz just sounds more finished. And here's the thing. I definitely hear more low end. I hear more of what I expected to hear from the Soyuz when it was right side up than when it was upside down. And so TLM-67, by the way. So the TLM-67 really, I think doesn't sound as different upside down as the Soyuz did, right? So here we go. I'm going to take the EQ off both of them again. All right, so this is the Soyuz no EQ, and this is the TLM with no EQ. That sounds awful. I hate that. So what is my takeaway here? I think that when you, let me switch back to the Soyuz. So I think that when you take the Soyuz and you invert it, I think what happens is all the buttery goodness, the butter that they put inside, because in every Soyuz, they melt a stick of butter and they put it inside the microphone that gives it this sound. And when you put it upside down, all the butter falls out. So I think that's the big difference. I definitely hear more bottom end on the Soyuz when it's right side up than when it's inverted. And okay, I have a true theory about this. I'm going to just make this quick. I think that the resonance coming from your chest and your body affects the sound of the microphone, because this resonant frequency emitting, like I can feel, when you have resonance in your voice, and you can feel it a lot easier, just put your hand right here, so you feel that resonance. And I think the resonance hits the Soyuz. The body of the Soyuz is, like I had mentioned before, it's brass, it's heavy, this is 2 pounds. It was like a heroic effort to get the Soyuz to sit nicely on this Elgato boom stand thing that is really meant for a lightweight microphone. I think this is taxing the limits of this stand, this low boom arm. And but I think that the mass of the Soyuz, a lot of brass in here. The frame, the outer shell is very lightweight, kind of an aluminum or some kind of very lightweight alloy. But the rest of the microphone is all brass. That's what contributes to the fact that when you hold it in your hand, It feels like you are like holding some magical, like, holy hand grenade of Antioch. You know what I'm saying? This is, and I think that brass is softer metal too. So I think that the brass itself picks up the resonant frequencies of your voice and it enhances somehow the low end. I think there's some kind of infrasonic, aid of the low end from the way the body reacts. That's the only valid theory I have why it sounds more full. Because I have to tell you, I was very, very surprised that these two mics sounded so similar to each other. And I thought that the Soyuz would sound more round and bigger, and that the TLM would be a little bit more leaner. That was my expectation buying them. And then when I set them up, and I had the Soyuz mounted up here because it's so heavy, and this boom arm is a little bit more sturdy than this one. Every day I expect to come in and find this thing like droop down and maybe crash to the floor. So, but yeah, I do think that there is a difference in the way the Soyuz picks up my voice in this booth when it is right side up. So I think the Soyuz has to sit right side up from now on. Now the TLM, and I had them sitting side by side so the capsules were about the same height. So I thought that was important. And the TLM, let's go back to the TLM. So the TLM with EQ, I think the TLM is very malleable. And even though it's not really quite the same, there's really not as much low end. It's a little bit more, I'm trying to feel la 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 la, hold on, la la la, la la la, la la la. So I'm guessing, but I think it's around 500 or so, 400 to 500. It feels like there's more going on in the low and low mids with the Soyuz, just a little bit more heft. And I think that's the transformer because the TLM is transformerless and the Soyuz has a transformer. So it definitely sounds more like I expected it to. So that being, which mic am I on? Yeah. All right. Hold on. Is that it? Which one? Is this one on? That one's on too. I'm so confused. So I think that definitely if you have a Soyuz 017 FET, more so than the TLM, because the TLM is all like, this is all lightweight aluminum and stuff, like here. Hear that? This is coming in from the Soyuz. This is the Soyuz picking me up. It's not like hefty material at all. It's very lightweight. So I don't think that resonant external frequencies influence the sound of the TLM as much as they do with the Soyuz, and it all has to do with the heft and the mass of the body. That is my only valid theory. But I do think they sound different, and I think the Soyuz sounds more like the Soyuz I expected. The Soyuz sounds beautiful, doesn't it? It really does. It has everything. And that's why I think the Soyuz is like really one of the best VO microphones you can get out there. So anyway, love them both, really. And this is very eye-opening. And thank you all for prompting me to continue investigating this. I don't think we're done yet, but I want to know what you think. All right, so until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemcoff, fading to black.